So I am Shane. I graduated from Middlebury 2013. I was 2012.5, was a Feb, took some time off.
I'm Nate, and I studied at Middlebury as well. I was a year behind Shane, so I was class of 2013.5. This process, which is a process that took you probably 8 hours for this model to take a model, export it into a number of different formats and do some various work by hand, and then ultimately into a game engine, build a little mini video game out of this thing. Just took a matter of seconds instead. So you can see we can walk around the model, and if you had the HMD plugged in, you could take a look around, and this would be 3D. You'd really feel a good sense of space and feel immersed in the model.
And this is essentially what the last year has been, is the discovery of this VR feels great to experience space in, how do we automate that? And then we pretty much polled the industry, and people were like, yeah, I want to get my files into VR. This was sort of our solution to that, is offer a downloadable app that people can, as a designer, as someone who's not techie, drag and drop native files and view them here.
We're fortunate enough to have started in an industry that was sort of low-hanging fruit, right? We understood the user story and the value proposition really well to start in architecture. As it turns out, a lot of people that are trying our early prototype are in film and set design and advertising and marketing. And they're different industries that I certainly didn't expect right from the get-go. And it's been neat to actually produce something, get it out into the world, and find out how people are using it, and then sort of adapt our priorities for future software development around who's using it and getting the most value out of the product.
If you're in the mood to explore a new social network, say hello to Ello.
Ello has basically been branded as the anti-Facebook.
But this sudden spike in popularity shows people are hungry for something different.
There is a new social media site that is taking over the internet.
It won't collect your information for advertising. In fact, there will be no ads on the site.
Tonight we'll be taking a look at the pros and cons of joining the anonymous Facebook. It's called Ello.
What is Ello to you? Ello is a simple, beautiful, and ad-free social network. So we took a look at all the other social networks, and this came out of the fact that myself and my partners, we were just not working, we're not using them anymore, they sucked. And we were like, why do these suck so much? They read your posts, they know who your friends are, they know what you like because you hit the like button. They follow you when you surf on the web, they know what you buy.
So let's take a look at the pros and cons of joining the anonymous Facebook. Here we go. Pro, no longer getting bombarded every day with ads targeted to your specific needs. Con, having to find penis pills all by yourself. It's not as easy
not
as you think.
Not as hard as you think.
No.
If you don't care about any of that stuff, which is totally cool, I think it's totally cool. The reason to use our network, or at least to think about it, is that when you take the ads out of the picture, what you get is a better product.
Pro, you can come up with a cool new identity and change how people see you. Con, kind of like me when I showed up for the first day of 6th grade wearing parachute pants with zippers all over them. I was like, I'm a breakdancer now. No.
It's like the electric car. The electric car will not be widely adopted unless it's better than the internal combustion engine. Not as good, not kind of good, and not kind of better because we care about the environment. It actually has to be a better car. If it's a better car, then everyone will adopt it. Same things for Ello. So because we don't have ads, that means that we don't have an ad salesman sitting on our shoulder telling us what to do. And whenever we make a new feature, basically we work for the people who use the network. The other social networks work for the advertiser, right? The advertiser is the customer. The user is the product that's being sold. On Ello, the user is the customer, and what that means is that every time we make a new feature, it's just to make it more fun and more useful. You're not a product. You're not a product. Yeah.
And finally, pro, your thoughts, interests, and online activity are completely anonymous and can't be tracked. Con, or as the NSA put it, bitch please. That's the pros and cons.
Grew up in Massachusetts, went to Middlebury College, graduated in '97. We've raised 5 funds, we have about $2 billion under management, focused on media technology. We've been fortunate to invest in some of the big companies. I always had an interest in like the media space, and I don't think anyone at Middlebury would consider me a writer, probably by any means. But I always had an interest in the media space, and kind of quit venture in kind of my mid to late 20s. Everyone thought I was crazy. All my friends at Middlebury kind of asked me what I was doing, but quit and wrote a sitcom about the crew that sets up and takes down events at the Boston Garden, and nobody wanted to hear anything about it. Didn't really know anyone in Hollywood, and everyone was like, "What the heck are you doing? You kind of screwed up your career." It was by far the best thing I ever did. So I kind of created a business model around this, where if I could get brands to be organically integrated into these shows, I could become my own studio. So a sitcom cost about $1 million per episode to produce. Your network will pay you about $750,000, so there's a $250,000 per episode deficit. My idea was to get brands to be integrated into the show. So if you look at the Boston Garden, there's brands everywhere. You need brands to actually make it real. So I went out as kind of like a one-man entrepreneur and closed deals at the CEO commissioner level with the NBA, NHL, Budweiser, Bruins, Celtics to be integrated into the show. Really just kind of as a one-man band. Contractually signed those guys up. There's one time I went to LA where it just all came together, where I had top agent, top lawyer, top producers wanted to meet with me, and or partner with me, and ended up partnering with really a great group. And then had 2 days where I was totally broke at the time. By then, and I had 2 days where I was going to pitch with the CEOs of the major networks, so NBC, ABC, Fox, and CBS, where I was like, I got to sell the show, or like, what the heck did I do with my career at a young age, which was a fantastic experience, and then ended up selling that show to Fox. So that was great, where there's a ton of pressure on you, there's big meetings, and you go and you get the pitch, and you end up selling that show to Fox. And then literally the next day, everyone else is like, what else you got? So I ended up selling a show 2 weeks later that I came up within 2 weeks to Discovery. There's a guy in Middlebury from my class who wrote a book called 50 Jobs Worse Than Yours. I ended up optioning that and selling that show to E! So it took me like 18 months to break in, and then I started selling like a bunch of stuff, and it was awesome. It was fun. I love the creative side of it, the business side of it, bringing it together, being a young guy and being in rooms you don't belong to and closing the deal. But selling a show and getting on the air are also two, very different things. But then I had a bunch of big offers to go out to LA, kind of really move out there and do that, which was great. And then I had beers with this guy named Todd Dagers one night, who was kind of the biggest VC in Boston, left his firm Battery Ventures, was taking some time off, was producing some movies, just kind of as a hobby. And then mutual friends like, you guys should grab beers one night. We ended up having beers one night, and he's like, I'm actually getting back in a venture. I'm gonna start a new firm. We don't have a name. We haven't raised a fund, but we're gonna do we're media. This is 10 years ago. We think there's gonna be a lot of change where media and technology really change the world. And I was interested. It was kind of a tricky time for me because I finally broke through in Hollywood. And then, this new firm is about to be started, and he's like, I think you should join us. This is like, just over beers one night. He's like, this guy named Santo Polides, leading a firm called Charles River Ventures. You should have dinner with me, him, and, me and him tomorrow night. I had dinner with him the next night. They gave me an offer to join the firm from the start. So, ended up joining Spark from the very start, which was 10 years ago, which was great. We've raised 5 funds. We have about $2 billion under management. Focused on media technology. We've been fortunate to invest in some of the big companies early. So we do early stage stuff. I just backed 3 guys that were still undergrads at Harvard when I backed them. We backed Twitter when it was an 8-person company, Tumblr when it was a 1-person company, Oculus, which is the virtual reality company. We were the original investors in that company, which Facebook just acquired. Wayfair, which just went public a few months ago. Original backer in that company. Admiral did App TV. So we back kind of the early stage companies. We're kind of the dreamers, the back the dreamers, and we don't do crazy financial modeling or anything like that. We back vision, dreams, and product, and we're along. We're kind of we want to help out as much as possible, but are also want to stay out of the entrepreneur's way and kind of do both.